Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network. And you know that means it must be Wednesday because it's Women's Wisdom Wednesday. And today we're going to ask you this question. Do you have negotiation-phobia? You know, that fear of the distaste, the distrust of wanting to negotiate. Well, I'm going to address women today. Our team wrote the 1-Minute Negotiator a couple of years ago, and Don Hudson and George Lucas, experts at negotiating, gave us some tips. Well, I did all the research for women, and although we didn't include it in that book, I thought I should share with you what you need to know about being a better negotiator. Now, here's the thing. We don't negotiate every day for our food. As an example, if you were in a different country, every day you'd have to negotiate for what you were buying. We don't do that here. We don't go into our food store and go, I'm going to give you 20 cents for this can of beans because it's dented. They bean you with that can. But at the end of the day, how do you get better at negotiating? Well, here's the thing. I have 5 tips for you. I have a whole podcast for women on that, and the 6 basic things and the 8 issues that we usually have with negotiating. And here's the first one. This is a secret for both men and women. Preparation. Prepare, and prepare. You know, we think that splitting the difference is negotiating, and that is not. According to the experts, preparation means you know the needs and the difference between the wants and the needs of your parties. And even if you're the buyer or the seller, you need to know. There are some non-negotiables. Here's an easy way to remember it. We use gambling chips. Red chips, non-negotiable. Got to be out of the house by a certain amount of time. Got to be able to take the chandelier because it was my great-great-grandmother's. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Red light. Green, you don't really care. The basketball hoop, well, we were going to include it, but we'll throw it in. Don't really care. The blue is where I think everything happens, blue chips. And the blue chips are where the actual concessions and accommodations and everything happen. But that's where it really gets good. And that's where you have to know how to prepare and know the difference between wants and needs. The second one is ask. Do you know, ladies, you don't ask. You don't ask for what you want. Now, I'm not saying you have to be bold or be like a man, but you do very often need to be clear about what you want. You know, there's a ton of books on it. This one's Her Place at the Table, written by 3 women. And I just got to tell you, there's a great story in there about why men get what they want. They have no problem saying that. Let's get up, let's do lunch. Well, you'd starve to death before you do that at a meeting. Don't be afraid, be confident, be non-emotional, and ask for what you want. You'd be so surprised about what you can get when you do that. The third one is concessions. Here's a key. Negotiation is always more than price. Terms are huge. George talks about it in his own story when he bought a house and they wanted top dollar, and he did it. But there were so many other concessions that were asked for, improvements, credits, just a number of things, replacements. He got what he wanted for his price, even though the price is what they thought they wanted. Always, always look at your terms and other ways to make that work. Now, here's one for women. Well, for anybody, actually, I shouldn't say that. And it's what we call waffle words. And it's not about breakfast, okay? But waffle words are words that are not very strong. They tend to make us feel like there's some wiggle room or we're not confident. Here's one. Here's a solution to consider. Might I suggest this is an option? Something like, would you consider X for Y? I mean, it's really about taking clarity so that the other person knows where to go. And the 5th one is really powerful. Are you listening? It's called the power of silence. When somebody makes that first offer, if you don't say anything, and it may be uncomfortable for those of us that are high influencers or high eyes in our behavioral style, just don't talk. Let them come back with something. You'd be so surprised. So deep preparation, ask, understand concession making, what are the wants and the needs, avoid waffle words, and zip it up, just be quiet. So if you're looking for the podcast on the 6 basic negotiating skills you need, just contact me at terrymurphy.com. Go to our Women's Wisdom Network Facebook page and tell me what you need when you negotiate. I'll be happy to help. In the meantime, make it a great week. See you next Wednesday.